Today we are going to learn about a new term called SPIVA. S-P-I-V-A. SPIVA stands for S&P Indices versus Active. SPIVA is actually a scorecard that shows a comparison. Comparison between what? Comparison between a benchmark index and the actively managed funds appropriate for that investment category. Say for example, let's take this index in India, the BSE 100. This index measures the performance of the 100 largest and most liquid Indian companies. So this index basically measures the 100 large cap companies in India. Let's say there are 50 active mutual funds in this category of large cap companies. Not sure of the exact number though. Note that I mean only the active funds, not the passive funds called index funds. Now, the performances of all these 50 active mutual funds are calculated. And each of these performances is compared with the performance of BSE 100. Say in our example, suppose only 5 active mutual funds perform better than BSE 100. That means only 10% of the active mutual funds in this category outperformed BSE 100, isn't it? Let's take one more example. We have an index called BSE 400 Mid or Small Cap Index. This benchmark index measures the performance of the 400 important mid-cap and small-cap companies. Say for example, there are 70 actively managed mutual fund plans in this category. Then, the returns of all these 70 mutual fund plans are each compared against the return of the BSE 400 index. So, in our case, say 20 mutual funds gave better returns than BSE 400 index. That essentially means that 28% of these mutual funds beat the index. Simple, isn't it? So, SPIVA scorecard makes an appropriate comparison by measuring a fund's returns against the returns of a benchmark that reflects that particular investment category only. So, this essentially is an apples to apples comparison. This scorecard compares the performance of actively managed mutual funds with their respective benchmark indices over an investment period of 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years. Let me share with you a surprising and interesting SPIVA report. As of December 31st, 2020, 87.95% of the actively managed mutual funds underperformed the BSE 100 index. Only 12% of the funds could beat the index. Let me show you how to view this SPIVA report. Just go to Google and search for SPIVA. Here you can see the SPIVA statistics country-wise. So in the United States, 75.27% of the actively managed mutual funds underperformed the S&P 500 index. This is over a 5-year period. So in Canada, it's 98.63. In India, a whopping 87.95% of the actively managed mutual funds underperformed the BSE 100 index. Isn't that surprising? In Japan, it's 69%. In Mexico, 80% of the funds underperformed the index. Let's see how to read the SPIVA India report in a PDF form. The SPIVA scorecard basically compares the performances in 3 categories: the equity large cap, ELSS, and equity mid or small cap. Here it shows the various strategies which SPIVA uses for these kind of comparisons. The first report shows the percentage of funds outperformed by the index based on absolute returns. So if you take the large cap section, 87.95% were underperforming the index. Looks like the mid or small cap section is performing better, with only 54% being outperformed by the index. We also have reports of performances not based on the absolute returns but on the basis of risk adjusted returns, which is very nice. Even these figures show us similar values. We also have a report of the number of funds which survived over years. This is called the survivorship rate. The reason funds don't survive over longer periods is that whenever a fund underperforms, it gets merged into another fund. So what happens when an underperforming fund gets merged into a better performing fund? This is what has been discussed in a book by Mr. John C. Bogle called The Little Book of Common Sense Investing. This book says that this kind of merging is not a favorable aspect to the better performing fund because the assets under management increase a lot and it becomes difficult for the active manager to manage so many funds. So, what is your opinion after reading the SPIVA report? What do you think your share of active funds in your portfolio should be? Do you think you should have a major share of passive index funds?